Karibu kwenye Msasa, where we talk to successful people about failure. There are things that people want, and there are things that people need. And of course, the best businesses are the ones that solve the need. Our guest today solves one of the most critical needs in our day and age, ajira. Kuajiri pamoja na kuajiriwa in ways that make the most sense. Our guest today believes in matchmaking. Her platform is the Tinder for employment. Lillian Madeje, karibu kwenye Msasa.
Asante sana. Your introduction ni kali sana. Tinder for matchmaking.
So Lillian, for those who don't know you, in very layman language, Lillian ni nani na anafanya nini?
Wow, layman language. Lillian ni mtu wa makamo. Ambaye anajishughulisha, nadhani siku hizi inajulikana zaidi kwa kupitia kampuni ambayo nimeanzisha inaitwa Niajiri. Lakini Lillian pia ni mtu ambaye amejikita kwenye kujenga uwezo wa watu. So either hiyo ni kupitia maongezi ya mtu mmoja ana kwa ana, ama ni kumpa mtu nyenzo za aina moja. Lillian ni mtu, zamani nilikuwa napendaga, nikisema zamani nilikuwa napanda milima, napenda kupanda milima.
Hiking.
It's been a moment hiking.
Okay.
Yes, I used to hike. I am a fan of family and friends. I prefer chilling in closed spaces, just having one-on-ones.
So you're a homebody?
So I am a homebody. If it's a party, it's like a friend's party, a home party that I enjoy much more than being out. I love nature. And yeah, I want to be part of something bigger, doing something that's greater than myself.
In the wanting to do something that's bigger than yourself, is Niajiri part of that?
Yes.
Adventure?
So Niajiri is part of that adventure in doing something that is bigger than myself, which is transforming other people's lives. And of course, right now making some moolah while doing that.
Yeah.
I think I remember kuna statement moja rafiki yangu wakati na graduate chuo. And I was like, nataka kwenda kufanya kazi. Kuna organization called Room to Read. I used to love books. I still love books, but I don't have enough time to read books.
Yes.
And it was, by then just coming into Tanzania, going to set up libraries across different villages. And I was like, I want to go work with that. It's like, Lillian, you have to remember, inabidi wewe mwenyewe uwepo kwenye stage ya kula, umeshiba, kabla haujaanza kusaidia watu wengine. So yeah, I did not understand that then. I do now, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. So a very big portion of our audience is young people. Not like young, but like, between the age of 25, mpaka 30, 35 hapo.
Okay.
And most of these people are watu ambao, sitakisema hawajajitambua, lakini wanajitambua zaidi wao ni nani, na njia zipi wanataka kuzipitia. A lot of people are, defining or rather fine-tuning what kind of career path to take. And for that sole reason, please tell us a little bit more about Niajiri.
Cool. So Niajiri, we say that we are a technology-enabled platform that upskills or skills up entry-level talent. Entry-level talent tunaangalia vijana wanaotoka mavyuoni, wanaotoka kwenye technical training institutions for the marketplace. So kwenye kuwa upskill tunafanya nini? Wanapata access to vitu kama CV, kutengeneza CV, coursework kama coaching jinsi ya kutengeneza CV, wanapata access to kufanya tathmini tofauti kuhusiana na skill sets zao. Tunaangalia hizi vitu wanaita employability skills ambazo ndio waajiri wengi wanatafuta. Communication, unaweza kujieleza we ni nani, unafanya nini. Critical thinking, kuweza kitu kimetokea ofisini uweze kufikiria okay, maybe what's the solution, na kuweza kupresent solutions. Ambapo inaambatanishwa na problem solving. Kuwepo na uongozi wa aina moja ama nyingine, leadership, teamwork, kuweza kufanya kazi kwenye makundi, kwa sababu mwajiri yote anatafuta mtu ambaye anaweza kufanya kazi na wenzake. So those are the things that we try to teach on the platform.
Okay.
Na jinsi wakati anafanya hivyo vitu vyote, upande wa pili tunafanya kazi na waajiri, employers. Ambapo with employers tunasema tunawapa nyenzo ama tool ya kufanya hiring, automating the hiring process.
Okay.
Yeah. So tuna aina 3 ya employers tunasema. Aina ya kwanza ni yule ambaye atakuja atakwambia nahitaji mtu wa mmoja wawili. Kwa sisi kama Niajiri, ile system inaweza ikachambua na ikatoa recommendation. Aina ya pili ni ya employer, ni tunaita corporates, makampuni ambayo yanafanya hiring. Sasa hivi ukiona kwenye matangazo unaambia tuma CV yako kwa hr@xyz.gmail.com ama @xyzcompany.com, lakini unatuma kwenye email address ya HR. Sisi tunatoa mfumo wa platform yetu ambao yule HR anaweza akapokea yale requests ama candidate application na akaweza kufanya filtering na screening kwa kutumia mfumo wetu. Na namba 3 tunafanya kazi na makampuni just kuhandle hiyo program zima sisi wenyewe.
So you can help them recruit basically.
Yes, we help them recruit.
And so hizo employability skills, kama hiyo leadership, teamwork, all of those things that can be taught, or some of them just come innately?
Ni swali zuri. The question between nature and nurture, right? Kwamba vitu gani ambavyo mtu unajifunza, vitu gani ambavyo unavyo, umezaliwa navyo na unaweza kuzifanya kazi. Lakini ni vitu pia ambavyo unaweza, kwa kujibu swali lako, ni vitu ambavyo unaweza kujifunza. Unaweza kukaa kuna level tofauti ya jinsi mimi na wewe tunaweza tukachukua, na hiyo sasa ndio inakuja ile the nurturing part. Unaweza tukawa tunafanya communication wote, lakini labda mimi kwa sababu ni mtu napenda kuongea zaidi, wewe mwenzangu tunaweza tukapitia zile ukajifunza the fundamentals na ukazi apply ikakusaidia, lakini mimi kwa sababu napenda mambo ya PR zaidi nikaonekana niko mbele zaidi ya wewe. Lakini ni vitu ambavyo vinaweza kufundishwa, kwa sababu basics kabisa sisi tumeanza level ya chini, kwamba tukiongelea communication, besides ukiangalia kwamba jinsi utakavyoweza kufanya labda PowerPoint presentation, jinsi utakavyoweza kuelezea umepewa business case na kadhalika, tunataka tu basic basi. Umeenda kwenye usahili aka interview, jina lako ni nani, kwa nini wewe, yani tunataka hapo uweze kujielezea wasifu wako, uweze kuelezea who you are, why you need this job, kuweza kwenye mambo ya interview. Kwa hiyo tunaanzia hapo basic kabla ya kuendelea kwenye sasa much more advanced. Sio advanced, ni very basic at the end of the day, lakini still kwamba tuanze basi at least uingie hapo ofisini alafu tuendelee.
Kwa mfano watu ambao wanatoka, because at the time again reflecting on myself and my peers at that time, ilikuwa kwamba kwanza hizi kazi zenyewe wanajuana watu wanapewa ndugu zao, alafu pia hizi kazi zenyewe ni entry level, ni mshahara entry level, lakini wanataka 2 years experience. Kuna wengine kabisa unakuandikia internship is not experience. You're like, that's okay. Unakuja na 3 years experience ili nipate kazi ya kwanza. What kind of thing can, entry level people do to be able to position themselves better? Because the soft skills, yes. Lakini on paper inakaaje hapo?
On paper inakaaje hapo? So, hayo yote unayosema, even reflecting back, bado tunapambana navyo at this particular instance, kwamba unakuta kazi ipo, wengine ndio hivyo kwamba internship inaweza isiitwe sio experience, lakini one of the key things kwenye kusaidia sasa jinsi tunavyotengeneza CV. Sisi hata kama ni ajiri pia tunajaribisha kuingia vioni kabla watu hawajatoka. So I like your experience kwamba ulianza kutafuta kazi, kwa sababu by default vijana wengi sasa hivi, nisiseme wengi, vijana kuna vijana ambao wanaanza kutafuta kazi pale anapotoka chuoni.
Yes,
akimaliza ndo anaanza kama vile ni step moja afu unaingia kwenye step ya pili. Wakati ile idea yako kuanza kabla ndio inavyopaswa kuwa. Ili uanze kuline up the interviews beforehand.
Yeah.
Na kwenye kurejea tu kwenye kuangalia kwamba how do you prepare. Tunasema kwamba kwanza hata second year, kwa sababu as a recruiter, let's say nikiwa nafanya recruitment ya entry level for a graduate training program, you receive, and this is, I'm talking about statistics, you might receive up to 4,000 CVs. For, napo unakuta ba roles ni 30. Sasa unapoanza kuanza, ni vitu gani vinavyoanza kuangaliwa hapo? Sasa ndo kwenye mchakato. Vitu vitakavyoanza kuangaliwa, obviously your GPA, but GPA, it's a thing, but I usually say kwamba still there is so much more that mtu anaweza kawa hajapata GPA kubwa ile, lakini ana hivi vitu vingine ambavyo vinaweza vikamsaidia kwenda mbele zaidi. But kuna kitu kingine hapo ambacho na I usually insist nikipata muda kuongea na vijana ambao wako vyuoni, kujiengage na activities.
Okay.
Student association, sijui kikundi gani, sijui nini. Kwa sababu vile sasa, tunaweza angalia zile skill set nazoziongelea. Unaweza kukuta hapo nikiangalia kwamba ulikuwapo kwenye student government body, ulikuwa accountant, unaweza ukashikilia hela. Ulikuwa sijui secretary, okay, you have some attention to detail, you're able actually, kwa sababu those things sasa ndo zinanisaidia kuangalia the skill set, like you went above and beyond the normal person, and these are the things that you did.
Because otherwise ulikuwa unasoma tu.
Because otherwise umesoma tu, umetoka na GPA yako, which is awesome, but these are the things ambazo zinaanza kunipa mimi picha ya wewe ni mtu wa aina gani. Kumbuka kuna CVs 4,000 ambazo inabidi zichambuliwe, labda total people ambao wanahitajika ni 30. Hivyo ndio vitu, yani hapo ndio kwanza unaanza stage ya kwanza. So what are those other extra things that you've done wakati uko chuoni? One of the key things that I've actually found out over the last 12 years of working in the human capital sector in Tanzania. Siku hizi ukiongea na vijana when I'm doing like graduate training programs and you're doing calls, interview calls, I usually try to get, nieleze kidogo kuhusiana nawe. Mara nyingi it takes a while to get them to tell you. Mimi niko tu nyumbani. Nyumbani unafanya nini? Niko tu nyumbani. Kuna wengine lakini if you but kumbuka mimi kwa sababu I have that thing, I want more out of you. But when you probe longer, I remember kuna hiyo wakati kama nafanya for a certain company, 3 specific examples that I was like, wow. Huyu kijana alikuwa anaishi either Moshi nadhani. When I probed further, it's like, I think kwenye community ya Kimasai. So usually alikuwa wanaenda na ilikuwa right before COVID pale ijaanza. Alikuwa wanaendaga kufanya kunadi ng'ombe. Dude, like that tells me a whole lot about you.
Yes.
Than napo mtu ukiangalia na degree yake. That tells me a whole lot about you than anything. You're just not staying at home.
Yeah.
Kuna wengine ambao ukimuuliza nini, kuna wengine ambao ningundua mtu, siku hizi kuna vijana wengi ambao unakuta yuko online, ana social media, anatumia Instagram for business. Either anauza sijui unga, anauza nini. Still, it tells me a lot about you. You are you're entrepreneurial. Entrepreneurial means that you have a problem-solving mindset, you have a critical thinking mindset, you can communicate. You deal with humans who need a product and you have issues. So those are the things that you're looking at. So lakini ukimuuliza kijana atakwambia tu niko nyumbani. Wengine ukiuliza niko nyumbani tu hapa namsaidia tu mzee na duka. That's something. Of course, unfortunately, and I think we're getting there. Kitu kinaitwa transferable skills. We used to specifically just hire for those hard skills. Umepata degree yako, umefanya hiki, unaendelea hivi. Lakini na hiyo pia it reflected kwenye makampuni mengi. But softly, companies these days hire, ndo nakwambia kama umesikia msemo kwamba they hire for their attitude, right?
Yeah.
They will train you for that particular role because you can be trained.
Yes.
Most of the things at the places of work these days, it's teachable.
Yeah.
That's why you need to have these transferable skills. Unaweza kujieleza, unaweza ukafikiria. Yani hivyo ndo vitu ambavyo vinahitajika.
Yeah. I think labda hapo inaweza ikasaidia kama, I guess when people think about niko nyumbani tu, what are they spending their most time doing, and then finding a way to sell that. Because kuna tofauti ya namsaidia baba dukani na nasimamia duka, nafanya hesabu, nafanya opening,
jinsi ya kujieleza. Yani hapo ni kwenye ndo tunapokuja sasa, unajieleza vipi? Kwa sababu mimi tu niko nyumbani. Lakini when you ask, kumbe hauko nyumbani tu. Uko asubuhi unaamka, unategemewa kwenda kufungua duka, kwenda kudeal na customers, kwenda kufanya nini. Kuna wengine wanafanya Uber. It still tells me a lot about your personality and your character. Kwamba I can trust you with this. You know, utafanya mahesabu, yani basics, lakini ndio hicho nachokirudi na ambacho tunajaribisha kupambana nacho kama Niajiri, kwamba how can we get jana kujitambua, kujieleza. Case in point, hapa juzi, so kwenye Lillian, I also do consult around the space of like e-learning platforms. Currently working with another consulting company, but doing an e-learning platform for RUWASA, Rural Water Services Agency. So we're doing a very small pilot kwa vijana kwenye kutumia huu mfumo. So juzi we're actually having a WhatsApp group chat, the pilot. And kulikopo kuna manager ambaye anaulizia sasa maswali. During the week running up to this event, kulikuwa kuna maswali mengi kwenye WhatsApp. Hiki na hiki. Hiyo siku I'm like guys, nimemuita huyu manager ili muongee naye. Sasa hivi naanza kuonekana mimi ndio muongo. Watu wote kimya. Watu wote walikuwa kimya. Kwa sababu sasa umeleta mtu ambaye mkubwa, wanaona sasa hawezi wakaongea. Lakini sasa ndio tunarudi huko kwamba sasa ndio tukimaliza hapo, like I have a lot of work to do ili kijana awepo anaamini aweze kuongea. Jamani, mimi ni fulani, mimi shida yangu ni hii na hii. Ningependa kujifunza hiki hapa hakifanyi kazi. Kwa sababu actually, because it's a pilot group, we're testing an app with them, so like what works, what doesn't work. But early on they were very easy to tell us kwa message.
You're opinionated.
But now in talking, everybody's like taking a step back. But ni malezi, ni
culture kidogo.
Culture ni hata ukiwepo shuleni, what's shuleni for the path you're listening, this is right, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong. You will listen to the professor, this is how it's meant to happen. Where you're thinking kwamba maybe this could be ABC, maybe not, that's not normal. So when a leader comes in front of you, you listen. That is our culture. So there's a lot to be done, but it's a frustrating space to be, but it's an enlightening space when you actually get to see them light up when they got, wale ambao wanabadilika au wanapoanza to come to themselves. Na wait, Msasa. So exactly that. Kwa sababu ni kupiga Msasa, I always believe everybody has something to give, right? So it's just about how do you help this person to realize their own potential and just get them to shine at whatever they do. Everybody has something.
Yeah. I agree. What about the other side, the employers? So, and this is a topic I'm particularly interested in. Because one, I've worked in recruitment in some capacity, in the capacity of marketing. But you do get to see, how people are coming in, how they apply, how somebody applies for 4 different roles. It's the same cover letter. And you're like, alafu pia kuna ile
maximization.
And then kuna ile pia job descriptions ambazo they're natafuta mtu mmoja au timu ya watu watatu.
There is that.
How do you deal with that, for instance, when you get like a job description and it's like, mshikaji wangu?
So kuna mawili. Kuna nyingine kuna kazi nyingine zinakuja na job descriptions, which is nice and clear and you kind of like know what's going on. Kuna nyingine ambayo you actually have to work with them in creating these job descriptions pamoja. Lakini exactly unachokisema hicho cha kwamba sometimes ukiangalia title afu unaangalia description. Like, that's true. Kuna kazi nyingine, and we've had these conversations. You're like, dude, this particular role, these are 2-3 different people that you're requesting them to do ABC. You can only get one of these people. Unaelewa. So hilo expectations ipo. And then kuna nyingine ambayo unakuta mtu anataka, and we usually say this, unataka mtu mwenye 5 years experience ambaye dau lake ni kubwa zaidi, lakini we dau lako ni la mtu mwenye 1 year experience. Lakini unataka yule mtu mwenye 5 years experience. Like, you will always have a back and forth. Mimi nitakuletea mtu mwenye 1 year experience kwa sababu ndio dau lake, and you will never be satisfied. Ndio unakuta saa nyingine kwamba kuna, sasa that's a bit of a challenge kwa sababu unaweza kukuta mtu anakuambia ni budget yangu, right? Now being on this other end, yeah, as an employer, unaelewa kabisa saa ingine mtu
Budget.
kweli budget ni budget ndio hiyo. Lakini sasa what do you actually do? Sasa as an employer, are you willing to get on board? And there are some companies, especially startup companies, ambazo siku hizi naziona wanazifanya, ambapo they get on board entry level na wanatengeneza kama vile learning program ili kuweza kukua na yule mtu over time aweze kuelewa the systems na kila kitu. But the market is tough. Yani that one you can go away. Na employers, kama nilivyosema, kuna ambao wanajitahidi, kuna ambao you have realistic sit downs, na kuna saa nyingine, kuna kazi nyingine zinakuja unaona kabisa hii ni kimeo, huyu mtu nayemtaka si hapatikani. Yani in the sense ya kwamba nikisema hapatikani ni kwamba unaweza kukuta dau lako liko dogo sana, mtu ndio anaweza kupatikana, lakini if you don't tally it up, you cannot get the right type of person.
Karibu kwenye Msasa, where we talk to successful people about failure. So what do you do there? Do you just tell them the truth?
Well, you tell them the truth, and sometimes ndio hivyo kwamba unakuta kwamba you cannot, yani uwezo, yani ndio hivyo kazi imekupita, kwa sababu kama huwezi kudeliver mtu kwa level fulani, what do you do? I used to take those roles, and then mwishoni unabakia na malalamiko. On both ends, kwa sababu kumbuka, a job is a matchmaking process for both.
Yes.
The candidate and the employer.
Yes.
And that's what I also tell my candidates. Kwamba, guys, when you're going for that interview, you're also supposed to interview that particular prospective person. Unatakiwa kuwa na maswali yako, lakini pia unatakiwa kuangalia yale maswali yako yatakusaidia wewe kujua kwamba kama hii environment ni environment ya nafani na mimi ni mtu wa nafani, niko tayari. Kama siko tayari, then you know, of course, hela ni hela you'll be needing, but then ujue how unavyojipanga kama unaendelea. Yani usiingie kwamba you didn't know about it.
You know price that you're paying
very well
for this particular opportunity,
because you have a bigger, goal maybe that you want to achieve. It's not a one side, and you have to be able to matchmake to the best of the ability.
So your educational background is in marketing, international business and marketing. That's my undergrad, and I did a general MBA from the Africa Leadership University School of Business. I'm currently doing a executive diploma at the Geneva Graduate Institute, and my thesis is actually on Niajiri, trying to understand engagement level of users. Kwa nini wengine wako high, kwa nini wengine hawako high, what are their factors, and just so that we, when we're designing for these e-learning platforms, what are the things that we should consider, what are the things you should not consider. Okay. So business background, marketing mindset, clearly in your branding as well. Why human capital?
So I actually bumped into human capital. So the story behind, nilikuwa na volunteer, nilikuwa sina kazi. Nilikuwa nimerudi kutoka Marekani, did my undergrad Marekani. But that's after Shaban Roberts. It was just 4 years stint in Marekani. Nimerudi natafuta kazi.
You didn't come back with an accent?
Accent ilipote. Back when I was. Rafiki yangu mmoja amesema bakudawazi only apply 6 months. Baada ya hapo tumo humu ndani. So nimerudi 2011 Februari. Nilianza kutafuta kazi, by the way, kuanzia niko nje. Tena kumbuka nilipataga kazi. Bahati mbaya sikuweza kupata ticket mapema, kurudi mapema. Na nilikuwa tayari ile kazi ilikuwa ni ile Ngasa, nilikuwa ni Mtwara, sijui Lindi. I was ready to go to Mtwara and Lindi, kiingia tujaenda huko. But anyways, so nimerudi kazi kama nimeshanipita sina kazi. February, March, some of the kazi ambazo niliapply iliweza kuingia mwezi wa 7 or 8 hivi. Anyway, so nimeenda volunteering to be one of the ushers, nini. And one of the person who was actually nominated that night for the award was Modesta Mahiga. And while niko chuoni / kwenye wakati nafanya internship yangu, kwaga naonaga TEDx zake nini, I was like, oh, I'd really love, to meet her. What was my idol, still is. She's my mentor and coach to date.
Nice.
And she was there and I was excited. I remember wakati anaingia, I'm like, I'm an usher. Oh, kazi yako. Like, unamwona mtu, like, yay, excited and all of that. And she goes in. You don't even have time to do anything because you are an usher. Kazi yako ni kusalimia watu, kupokea wageni. Kwa hauna muda wa kwanza kupiga story na mtu mmoja. And event iliisha. So mimi nilikuwa nimeona, of course, as an idol, lakini pia she owned Professional Approach Development, which was a training and recruitment company. And here I was looking for a job. So I had a 2-step process, and actually, my what do they call it? My fangirl experience was number 1, but then I was also looking for a job. So towards the end, she leaves, actually. She left. Nikopo busy ile unaoja kwamba kila kitu umefungwa, you're busy doing something else, afu unamwona mtu anaondoka. But I would like to believe it was my God sent and everything happens for a reason. Somehow, I think funguo za gari lake alikopo umedondoka. So she came back and I saw her. And I ran towards her. Hello, my name is Lillian. Just like a whole speech right there. And she's like, okay, here's my details. Look for me after a while. And literally looked for her after a couple of weeks, had a sit down with her. She was like, she wanted me to work for her. I was like, yeah, I was trying to pitch myself for one of the companies that may be looking for a job. But so the rest is history. So I started with her in 2011. Her name was Yosab, I think, or Sita, in training, recruitment, and consulting, Professional Approach. And
were you training or were you like...
So I started as a coordinator, literally coordinator, zunguka, get things right. Then started working my way up, her training, me doing the reports, me observing her training, me looking at her, doing some of these recruitments, what it takes. And just literally that. It was one of the learning on the go, if anything. So I do not have a background in HR, and that's why I really move away from... not a human resources person. I do more
You're in human capital.
I'm in
tech
human. Yes,
innovation.
thank you. I'm in human capital and tech. So
I get the positioning. I get it.
Yes. So that's how I wound up in this space.
Since you used to love reading, if you were to do a memoir about yourself, what would the title be?
Yo, interesting. What would the title be? Managing the hats. The different hats. Managing the hats. Yeah, there's... I'm looking for the managing part. But yeah, so why that? Because, talking about Msasa and I know your concept. During COVID, I hit rock bottom, definitely.
As business or personal?
As business and a person.
Okay.
Sometimes when you connect the two, they become one. As business, definitely, it is recruitment, so it's human. So there was no recruitment happening and all of that. So that was right at the time when we kind of started taking traction.
At that point, Niajiri was 2 years?
That was about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2018 is when we started, 2019. So literally like starting to gain traction and things kind of like took a downturn.
Yeah.
So then you start questioning who you are, what you are.
Yeah.
And you're a failure because the company is going down, because I had taken that I'm Niajiri, Niajiri is me.
Yeah. You're full-time.
Yes. I mean, full-time, yes. I'm still full-time.
Yes.
But took the role that like the I am Niajiri, Niajiri is me. So because Niajiri is going down, that I'm also going down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it took a whole lot.
The failure.
Exactly. So it took a whole lot and a couple of sessions. I think those are the things, a couple of sessions, and literally signed up for Modesta's coaching sessions by then to get me to understand, to go back to my, to my normal in understanding that as Lillian, I can run multiple things. Because I remember by then, I'd also started like, this is me. Because I actually started getting questioned, who exactly are you? What exactly are you? You have Niajiri, but then we still see you, because there's still like facilitations and moderations that I would be doing because that comes naturally. So we're like, but we see you in this event, we see you in this event. You're doing too many things. You should just sit with one thing, right? And then I was like, yeah. So right before COVID, I really was, okay, Niajiri is this is Niajiri, then let's do this. And then that happened. So really coming back to, I could be Lillian, I could do project A, I could do project B, I could do project C, and I could run Niajiri. And it's okay because these are all different hats that I wear. I'm still me, and I'm still, I have all of these other essence of who I am, that I should not tie myself to just this one thing, because I'm not just one thing. And so that's why the multiple hats, because I remember like one of the activities that Modesta made me do is just like put down on the large flip chart paper, like what are the things that I'm doing and why am I doing it and what that means to me and everything. So really just multiple hats. I learned that it's okay. For the longest time, I've always been faced with, you do many things.
You do too
and
many.
that is true. I'll not lie. And I've learned also over time that I do need to concentrate in one's, not necessarily to niche down as I'm doing the multiple things, because I will still be doing the multiple things. That gives me life. I love project life. But there is a need to get the best out of that one thing that you're doing, to really be concentrated at that particular moment in time.
Like you were explaining, we do tend to internalize it. Sometimes we're too hard on ourselves. Sometimes it really is just ourselves.
There is that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And coming out of the feeling, the experience, and understanding, okay, this is done. This has happened. What next? You said you did some sessions?
Yeah.
How did you come out of that rut?
Well, you have to surround yourself with humans that actually believe in you. I think that's one. First, I think it takes emotional maturity. So when I'm saying emotional maturity, even the best of the best go down, right? And that's part of being human. It takes you accepting that you're down and be like, okay, I need help. Like, how am I actually going to come out of this one? Because it's only when you accept a certain situation that you're actually able then to put up a plan of that particular situation, of how you're coming out of it. Because if you're not really cognizant that this is actually what I'm facing right now, then what exactly are you doing to go to that next step? So, I think that was the first step, trying, really digging deep and figuring out, okay, I think I'm actually, depressed. And I'm actually continuing to get depressed. And it was not the best time, because it was just like you're all sitting at your own home. Nobody's, meeting other humans.
Yeah.
And so you're really having just enough time with your thoughts, which is not fun.
Yeah. I've done therapy. It was around COVID times. Yeah. We started around 2019. A couple of months in, COVID hit. And then there was a lot of self-doubt. Yeah, I didn't do it immediately, though. It took a while. It took a lot of convincing from someone very close to me to even consider it, because I was also guilty of the bias that, but I don't have a mental problem, though. Yeah, so I was like,
but I'm not breaking down. I'm fine.
I'm not crying.
But it's somewhere in your brain.
Somewhere there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it takes a lot to admit to that. And and I think we need to speak about this, because a whole bunch of us, and as I talk about a whole bunch of us, whether it's people who are starting their businesses, people who are in offices and corporates that are going through tough times.
Yeah.
And we're not having safe space is good. You can have your friend, you can have your family and everything, but we're not saying you're crazy. You're not crazy.
You're not crazy.
It's just that the same way, I think, and I think there's some talks about this, and I'm maybe consciously, because I am cognizant of it, I'm starting to hear that the same way you're we are supposed to have a yearly body check, it's not bad to actually go check on your mental health, because it is about your mental health. Nimesema hiyo yearly body check kwa sababu pia hiyo ni
kitu fulani
hiyo ni kitu fulani majanga, but na yenyewe tunahitaji kwa sababu mambo ni mengi. Yeah.
So for me, for instance, I nothing against therapists.
Yeah.
She was great. Lakini what I got is how to better understand what I'm feeling. The sessions themselves were, lakini nilipata shule fulani hivi ambayo
unajua leo unaambiwa kwamba tunaongelea kwenye anything.
Yeah.
What are you taking out of it?
Yeah, you need to take something.
Hiyo ni shule tosha. Kwa sababu at the end of the day, you should be able to be in a space that you should actually do something for yourself.
Yeah.
I think yesterday I was going through something and I was just like, I should call up my spiritual mother. Yeah. And I'm like, Lillian, kwani Mwenyezi Mungu alileta kwa ajili gani? Kuna uwezo ukampigia simu mwenyewe Mwenyezi Mungu? Yes. It's like, why are you thinking that you have to call somebody to actually get you to whatever? Yes, so it's like, I think sometimes it's about having the tools and resources. But the important thing is knowing how to access that tool and resource.
Yes.
So for you, come and hear about how to dig deep. And acknowledging our feelings. I think a whole bunch of us don't take time to really acknowledge our feelings. I think when emotional intelligence, like one of my sessions that we're doing is like, ukiamka asubuhi na mambo yako kushoto, is like, okay, wait. What exactly is going on? What am I feeling? Am I sad? Am I angry? Am I mad? Am I whatever? Figure out, first of all, the feeling.
Yeah.
Because when you figure out the feeling, it's like, okay, wait, I'm sad. Why am I sad? What's the thing that happened? Dig deep. Okay, something inside. Because when you go down to the root cause, then you can sort it out.
Yeah.
If you just walk around with, I'm feeling something, and then you start acting on the feeling.
Yeah.
Because you're frustrated with yourself, then you just frustrate other humans around you.
Yeah. Very much so.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Lillian, can you think of a time when you weren't very proud of yourself?
I think
you're using chemistry.
Yeah.
Creating chemistry between employers and job seekers.
Wow, I like that. So I was frustrated because was it frustrated? I don't know what's the feeling, but I really, 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 really wanted to be an environmental engineer. Don't ask me why. That was before wanting to be a psychiatrist, aka psychologist. Don't ask me why. It could be a thing about being the last child and I had all the time to myself. Nyumbani, and I started applying. Nakumbuka niliapply a couple of universities in Canada. I really wanted to go to Canada. My sister had gone to Canada. I think she was my role model. So I was really, really wanting to go to Canada. I didn't want to go to the US because by then, watu wakopo wakiendaga US hawarudigi. I was like, staki kuzamia in the US. And so started applying to universities, not going through, just getting, not accepted. Nakuwa mpaka niendaga mpaka SUA, Sokoine University of Agriculture. Bosi nikafanya mpaka ule mtihani wa pale na nikafeli huo pia. Ile entrance exam.
Yeah.
Nikaufeli pia. So then finally I was like, okay, let me try out the US and I applied and I got in. But I think through that whole process, I really, really like kupata majibu. And I was really wanting to go to Canada and really not that happening. But again, through that, I think it opened up a whole other avenue in terms of the place that I went and the kazi that not necessarily kazi monipata, but I think there's the thing about life. If I look back at my life, at least the one that's really clearly on my head, kwanzia O level, actually hapana, hata primary, kwanzia grade 6 huko. Like the different humans, and that comes up connecting dots of humans and stuff. the different people that I met at different stages all somehow connect to what it is I am doing or have been doing at one point in time.
Yeah.
So much as there are things that I looked at as failures, they still brought me to a certain opening later on in life. So yeah, I think, I don't know, my not necessarily passing in PCB has now made me wound up in a space of tech and education. Never thought I'll be doing human capital, but here I am. And so like everything just feeds in somewhere somehow. But I think it's just about kuwa na moyo wa utayari na kuwa na moyo wa ku-explore much more.
Karibu kwenye Msasa, where we talk to successful people about failure. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a failure that you cherish the most?
Is there a failure that I cherish the most?
Could be, was the biggest lesson, or it was quite a meaningful lesson at that point in time?
I think this COVID thing. The COVID literally took me down, took my company down. But so while I was doing the personal coaching, it opened up an opportunity whereby one of my company mentors or advisors literally gave their time every Monday for a period of 4 months of like 1 hour session of going through the business model and just questioning me and whatever. So it was literally free. Exactly. So it was literally like free moolah education to this guy who is like very, very busy. And it was not a busy time, obviously, because everything was kind of like shut down.
Was he a client?
No. This is another human that I met randomly in life. I was part of a network, I think it was Ethiopia 2012, which was an opportunity that actually Modesta opened up to me. She couldn't go for the meeting and she told me to go. And so it was a network of individuals called Africa 2.0.
Africa 2.0.
Yeah, and met this gentleman. He was from West Africa. And we just kept on. And we literally, he started checking up on me on a by 6 months basis. Not necessarily him checking up on me, but also me checking up on him and telling him my updates. So he became a mentor, basically. Yeah. And so when I was starting the company, he was there when I was thinking about it, okay, you're really starting, this is where you are. So he's from the investment advisory kind of background. So really helped me think through. So yeah, so I got access to free coaching, mentoring from this guy. Yeah, it was fun. So much as it was a downtime, but I actually was also able to turn around the thinking. There are things that I didn't think, in terms of the business model that I was never thinking about. He really got me to really think about how is this making money? It's like a really nice and grand for you to be transforming the world, but you have to look at the sustainability and all of those other things. Yeah.
Have you broken even?
So we're not yet broken even. We are post-revenue. We're pre-profit, if that's what I can say.
Pre-profit.
Yeah. Pre-profit. But we're post-revenue. We're getting revenue in terms of we can put the lights on.
Yeah.
But in terms of when you look at it, you're like, I can close my eyes and sleep at night and be like, you know what? We have enough salaries for the next 6 months. Not yet.
Yeah.
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 We're still hustling.
Yeah. Yeah. When you talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, I like to call them wajasiri wa mali.
Yes.
Wengi wao huwa wanapitia very many different phases within the same business, right? And so it's almost as if, at least, especially more recently, I'm starting to understand it's almost as if the art, let alone the art of failing, is important because it can be an art form, and the art form being that you can take lessons from it and not just beat yourself up, basi. Yeah, but the art of pivoting is an art. I'm saying to see that. Oh wow, yeah. Even sometimes the books I used to read when I could read more, I'm also struggling
to get back on that.
Yeah, thank God for podcasts.
Yeah,
just another
at
way
least you
for
can
people
listen to it. Yeah,
listen to it or watch it. But, reading or thinking about the same books that you read, you're like, oh, these were pivoting moments. And there were several, sometimes
Yeah.
several within a very short time span. And so what I want to ask you is, in the context of your business, can you share with us a couple of moments when you had to pivot, especially the pivots that were turning points?
All right.
Yo.
Check. These pivots. But so the thing with pivots though, kuna stage ya kwanza with pivots. Stage ya kwanza ya pivots kwanza. Pivots zikianza kupiga yani kwanza. Kwanza inabidi uanze kujiuliza. Kwanza you're like, because when you're starting, you're like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what? You're like, really? Like, no. Kuna ugumu fulani hivi ya kukubali kwamba hapa ni muda wa kwanza kufanya pivot. So honestly, the last 5 years, yes, much more so within the last 2 years, we've had to do a whole lot of pivots. And I think because of those pivots, possibly that's why we are starting to get traction. That's why there's tangible things that I can say. The team is starting to grow and everything, but it was really, really hard to get me to this point. And I think it was because of the whole idea of the founder mentality, and this is how it should actually be run, and this is how I imagined it in my head.
Yeah.
Yes. So to talk to you about the pivoting moments, I think one of the key things, 2022 was really starting to look at what is the sustainable business model. Because we came at this from a passion angle, right? We're digitizing the whole, because I started servicing graduate training projects. So digitizing that whole process to make it easier for employers to get talent through their doors. But I'd not really thought, okay, so then I'm only receiving money from this guy who's paying me to do this project, right? But then the thing with the project, which was our first initial business model, right? When you get a project, it's awesome. But it took us like 6 months to close, like a minimum of 6 months for you to actually close that one deal.
Yeah.
It is not realistic. That's a long time for you to be running your OPEX, costs, right?
And usually you'd find yourself over-investing in the sale.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of sit-downs and engagements and, oh my God, this product is great. And then possibly when you go to procurement, they really don't understand what you're talking about because it's HR and it's like, and at the end of the day, you're like waiting, oh, this deal is coming. And nothing happens.
Yeah.
And this deal is coming and nothing happens. So I was like, okay, girl, you have to rethink this whole business model. And of course, during, as I say, 2022, so that means post-COVID started really hammering how you actually being sustainable.
Yeah.
So then we literally started thinking through, okay, there's free stuff for the entry-level talent to get on the platform. That's well and good. But let's also see if we can start, curating different courses and things like if you want to download the CV without our logo, you can actually pay 1,000 shillings for it because we've actually made it nice and pretty for you. Or if you want an online coaching for 15 minutes on self-awareness or how to interview or how to make a CV that is curated to the job description that you're applying to or a cover letter, you can only pay 2,500 shillings for 15 minutes or...
So products for job seekers.
Exactly.
Nice.
So we're like, let's start designing that. And I'll tell you how that went. So that was one of our pivots. And then on the employers now, as I told you, we're like doing this whole long sales cycle, which was not sustainable. It was not going anywhere. Really started to, and I hated this because I was like, I'm not a recruitment company. I want to upskill these guys and go. I'm like, okay, girl, just gotta go, put your tail in your ass and just go back. You're just going to go back and figure out and do this recruitment because you have to keep the lights on. So had to come back to really, okay, we're going to be doing recruitment as we're upskilling these guys and creating this automation tool.
Yes.
So then the placement, so, a company comes, we're looking for 2-3 people. We come back to our database, we give them the people. Then right now, the biggest pivot that we have been working on this year and running up to going live next year is our applicant tracking system, which is a curated tool for corporate companies to do their hiring themselves. So we give them access to a white label tool. So the same way like you would be using as a Calendly or Google, but you're just a service to actually do it will have your logo. It will not even, nobody will know it's on our servers, but you're actually able to do screening, filtering, collect all your applications at the ease of using the Niajiri tool. And as of recent, really looking at designing a tool for the SMEs, which is more curated, Swahili, and all of these other things.
Yeah.
So actually, this week, one of my employees was laughing at me. She was like, "Lillian, you're actually creating an app." It's like, I was 1 year ago, you're like, "No, I'm not an app person." We're a web-based, mobile responsive platform, right? Because my thing has always been, why do you build an app if you're not having as much interaction on a daily?
Yeah.
So we have 33,000 unique registrations. But on a daily, it may range between 350 to 1,500 to some of the days like 5,000 people on a daily. So I'm like, until I have a constant like 50,000 on the platform on a daily, that's when I'm doing I'm doing an application. But yeah, so it's not happening, but we're getting there. But so like there's some things that you're just like, okay, maybe we need an app, but for this particular subset, that we can be able to push this into the market with a different strategy. Because also insanity or craziness is doing the same thing that you've been doing every year and expecting a different result. So I'm really just putting myself out there and trying out all of these different strategies and business models, because the traditional business model has just not been working.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for you, what indicators do you need to see to realize like, oh, it's time to pivot. It's time to pivot. It's time to pivot.
When you're hitting the wall, you're doing the same thing and you're not getting the traction you were expecting, that means something is not right. That means either you are approaching something differently. So again, I'm a big person of data. I always tell people, guys, data. Do not talk to me to anything if you're not telling me. Do not give me a story if you're not giving me data to back it up.
Okay.
So one of the clear data that definitely we have to rework on 2024, and one of the things on our to-do list is really, when designing, it was awesome. We designed it such as everything is self-paced and you find everything, and we've kind of like curated, and you can find all the tools and the courses. But when we're doing our research, and recently we just did like a survey and really try in one-on-one in terms of interviews, we found out that people are confused. There's just so much information on the things that's there. When we talk to the ones who are active, they are only active because they were part of our offline programs. Like we have other offline programs that are curated with other partners.
Yeah.
And then we took them on a face-to-face or a one-on-one on what this SWOT analysis is, what this personal development career plan is, and so when they're like, oh, when we understood what it is, then I actually went to do all of these other things. So designing a self-paced, putting all of this information out there and expecting that somebody's going to come in and do step 1 and step 2 and step 3 is just confusing. So really looking at really just redesigning the whole platform,
right,
making it easy that do step 1, finish step 1, go to step 2.
Yeah.
Step 2, go to step 3. So right now I'm just like, figure out your steps. All of them are out here.
DIY.
So
basically you're saying in some contexts, it's DIY.
So right now it's do it yourself, but it's not working.
Okay.
So we're going back to, pacing it. But the point is, which is, back to the point that you asked me, when do you figure out that it's not working? When you're doing the same thing and you're expecting a different result and you're not willing to do something different. I honestly was like, they should figure it out for the longest time. But obviously my users are telling me, girl, it's not working. But yeah.
Yeah. One of the challenges of being in business is sometimes when something isn't working, the first place to look at is internally, which is the product.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for instance, many business owners, founders, are victim, and I'd like to use that word, of if kitu fulani hakifanyi kazi vizuri, something is wrong with my product, and they go back to fixing the product. Versus some instances, it's not the product, it's something else externally that you need to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been in an environment where you need to figure out the external, not another iteration of Niajiri.
So I agree with you there. But then the question, or what we're told, is that if you have a product that you need, nobody teaches you how to deal it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's why we usually go to what is wrong with the product. Because if you have a good enough product and somebody really just needs there's a certain thing that they need from this, they will look for it, come rain, come shine.
Mm-hmm.
But I do agree with you, right? Some other times it's the product. So our product is available on A, you need to have data.
Yeah.
B, you need to have a
Smartphone
smartphone, or you have to
computer.
have access to a computer.
Mm.
So those are already like inhibitors that we're facing.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of the matter is vijana do have access to data and do have access to their smartphones.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone to easy kwenda kuvisit shule na unakuta vijana wanatumia simu na wanafanya nini, lakini ukiangalia anafanya nini, yupo kwenye stations za umbea. Umbea is good, sometimes it's good to relax your mind, na kila kitu yuko kwenye kuangalia mpira, whole mpira anaangalia kupitia simu yake, sikiliza mziki, ana download movie and all of these other things, right? So I'm like, wait, if you can do that, should be able to do this other thing. But then kumbuka sasa ndo naingia kwenye level ya, back to your point, kwamba it might not be the product, it could be the surrounding things. So ndo maana kama Niajiri tunaanza kwamba umuhimu wa kujitambua ili uweze kujua kwamba ujiongeze for the marketplace ili uweze kufanya hivi vitu. Nakumbuka kuna siku tulikuwa na session CBE, kuna kijana mmoja tulitaka whole like a career fair tumefanya, kulikuwa kuna CV clinic, tumeweza CV clinic, tukafanya one-on-one self-awareness assessments na nini kuna watu. And then tukawa tuna like a big wash ambao some of the testimonials, watu ambao wamepitia kwenye program zetu wanaongelea, wamepata kazi, wengine wanafanya nini. Then kuna huyu kijana raise hand. Alikuwa ana accent fulani. Samahani dada, sasa mimi mnanichanganya. Nimetoka nyumbani, baba ameniambia nije kusoma. Wewe, I'm doing this because he was actually doing it. Wewe unaniambia nifanye niajiri, kwa hiyo mimi niache kusoma? Pambana na huyo mtu. So hapo ni mindset. Yani hapo mwenzako ametumwa kuja kusoma. Wewe uko hapa unaambia ukisoma tu kitoka na degree yako haupati kazi. Ameambiwa aje kusoma. Ametumwa na kijiji kuja kusoma. Unaambia hapa usijui niajiri, itambadilishia, itamuongezea tija. So then you're starting from a mindset change. You're starting from a behavioral change. It is more, I took a wicked problem and I'm just like, yeah, there's different layers that when you're starting to deal with, you're like, okay, that's one. And then there's another one. Oh, wait, there's still more. But yeah, and you're crying while you're doing it.
As someone who is in human capital.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to take you away, kidogo. But I think it's very relevant. As someone who is in human capital, as somebody who is an influencer on both sides of the coin, influencing people to get the job and influencer. Influencer. Yeah. What are your thoughts about side hustles?
Dude, I side hustle every day. I would not be standing in front of you looking this fine, my hair did, if I do not have a side hustle.
Right. So for people who are employed, and I manage VIP, because maybe you are a generalist at heart, and so you do have the capability to wear many hats.
So, I go back to me. While working, one time that I was working on the Modesta, I remember there was a side gig nilipataga. Nikamfuata nikamwambia about it. I have this thing, just, she was like, yeah, go ahead, as long as it does not interfere with the day-to-day. And I honestly have tried to use the same mentality with my employers. Kwamba, definitely, hopefully, sio kitu ambacho kinaingiliana with what we're doing, right? One. But mbili, if you're doing it on your time, not in my time, if that makes any sense. Na tatu, there is value in somebody satisfying their thing.
Yeah.
Kwa sababu then akiingia kwenye kufanya kile cha kwangu, anakopo na tayari zaidi na anakopo much more committed in one or another.
Yes.
Kurudi kwenye swali lako, like how do they manage? Sasa hapo ndo inakuja kwamba inabidi upo wewe kama musika. I think a couple of people that I have, they had their side hustles in terms of kama ni ma student associations ambazo they're running na kila kitu ama sijui ni leader kwenye nini. You actually want such a person kwa sababu you can actually benefit from their networks that they're having.
Yes.
They can come and like unajua kuna opportunity fulani nimekutana hii kuna huku, and honestly there's some things that we're doing right now because mtu ameleta deal based on the other things that they're doing on their away time. So I think it comes down to basically how do you manage your time? How are you honest with your time? How are you actually balancing? And again, when we look at time, 8 to 5 umeingia ofisini. Us, it's 9 to 5. What you're doing hapo and how effective you are is you can squeeze unaweza kaweka kwenye laptops za watu kacheki kwamba saa ngapi anaingia kuangalia Instagram, saa ngapi anaingia kufanya WhatsApp na kila kitu.
Yeah.
But you will not survive as a boss at all.
Yeah, it's micromanagement.
My strategy is this is your KPI. These are the things I'm looking at every quarter. Umefanikisha, hujafanikisha. Kama hujafanikisha, hapo ndo kuna story nyingine. So I think it comes to managing both the employer. What type of environment are you providing to ensure kwamba mtu anafanya vile vitu unavyohitaji? The employee, being honest, I think one of the things that we have, and again, I cannot say it's a Tanzanian thing, but it's the community that I'm surrounded. Tuna uoga wa kujieleza kwa mabosi wetu. Now, unfortunately, yes, kuna mabosi ambao pia ni milipuko. Hiyo nakubali. Lakini saa nyingine kuna wengine ambao una provide opportunity ya kutaka kujifunza zaidi kutoka kwa employees na uwepo na ukweli. Ili saa nyingine ufanye vitu vyako kwa sababu kusema ukweli pia, let's be real. Hata kwenye corporates na kila kitu. People are having other jobs. Maisha ya mshahara mmoja ndani ya jamii yetu ambayo tunaishi ni magumu sana.
Ni magumu ndio.
Naelewa. Kwa kuwa na mifereji tofauti ya revenue channels. Kama vile kwenye startup unaambia what are your revenue channels? It's important whether unafuga kuku, whether una magari yako yanafanya Uber, whether we mwenyewe labda sijui you're doing a site consulting, you're translating sijui ama you're doing some nini. It's important. Lakini managing kwamba ule muda wa employer wako unampa kwa ya Kaisari. Hapo tu.
Karibu kwenye Msasa, where we talk to successful people about failure. What's the best thing another human being has ever given you?
Time. With time, and here I'll just put the different humans in a bucket. Where I am today, where I know I'm going tomorrow, is only made possible because other humans made time for me, to listen to me, to guide me, to engage with me, to pull my hand up when I'm about to fall. So it's time to really just listen. I think that's something that I'm truly grateful for. Because in them giving their time and possibly me also listening to what they're telling me, even if I don't do it then and there, I've been able to grow over time. I guess I've been talking about Modesta, but I go back to Modesta because I remember when I was working and I started working with her. She was just like, yeah, well, you're going to be great. I'm like, great where? I'm like, all I want to do is just do my job here, finish, go, right? But she believed and saw something in me that I never did see. And she helped me get those first steps out of the way. And starting to see something and so like you need humans in your corner who can get you to see more of yourself than even when you're not seeing it, right? Because even if you feel it, but if you don't see it and if you don't have enough people that believe in you that you could actually do it, you talk about this in my family. for the longest time, kwanza yani the fact ulisoma nje, karudi ukaanza kwanza na SME, kwenda kwenye kampuni. I stressed my dad for the longest time. And then you come and learn that it is actually, because I initially thought that he doesn't believe in me. And like my parents didn't believe in me and that I could do something in this business. But no, they were in civil service, mpaka mwishoni. And so they were looking out for me. Hauna mshahara, hauna pension, hauna nini. So they're thinking through like, oh Lord, took this one to study. Now she's here hustling. There's nothing happening. Hauna ta insurance, health insurance. So, but by then I was just like, oh, they're not really trusting in who I am and what I could be. So it took a whole lot of like iterations for them to actually get to a point of like, I don't think my dad's still stressed, but at least he's a bit better than where he was like 6-7 years ago. But he's still stressed over, okay, what this question he asked me use it to exactly use it. It's like, hey, kwa hiyo, are you actually, getting money? And I'm just like, I can pay other people. It's like, kwani hilo ni kanisa? Just was like, but we're getting there. It's like, bado hanielewi lakini, but it's like, okay, we're getting there, but not yet there, but we're getting there. So you need humans, because it took a while for even my family to like really be like on board. Now on board, it's not kind of combat they did not believe in me. It's just that they were really looking out for me.
Yeah.
And when they did turn around, like these, my sister's like my number one champions. Like anything happens, like, okay, this is working, this is, but kuwepo na watu, na sio tu mtu, watu ambao surrounding yourself, different people with different skill sets that can help you think outside the box. So humans. Yeah.
I like that very much. Time is very valuable. And so the same way you don't want yours wasted, you appreciate anybody who gives you theirs. Yeah. On every episode, we have a segment in our show. Okay. We've titled it Njaboxi.
Njaboxi.
Yeah. So we kind of step away from the failure aspect of it, of Msasa, and we lean on a particular area that we find that the guest is likely very knowledgeable in.
Okay.
We have a couple of themes. The theme we're going with sasa hivi ni go to market.
Oh, okay.
Right?
All right.
So I guess my question to you is, for anybody who is thinking about developing and taking to market a digital solution, like a digitized solution to something, doesn't have to be human capital.
Yeah.
Now, more importantly, thinking about introducing this digital solution kwenye soko la
Tanzania
plus 255, ni vitu gani inabidi uwe unavielewa na unavitambua na uwe tayari kuvifanya ili hiyo digital product yako stand a chance to survive?
Okay. Vitu gani ambavyo unatakiwa uelewe uvifanye ili digital product yako stand a chance? So, this is based on lessons learned.
Yes.
Mwanzani nilidhanigi digital marketing ni social media, niko kwenye nafanya na posti kwenye Instagram, Insta story, Twitter, Facebook by default kwa sababu ya nini. Then got to learn actually there's something called digital media marketing. Like it's a whole science around it, and it's just, it's something ambayo I would definitely, if you're building a digital platform in Tanzania, lazima uangalie jinsi gani ya ku-maximize on digital media marketing, ambapo hii ni kwamba mtu anasearchi Niajiri as an example. Kwenye Google search inatokea kama sponsored ad, is a sponsored or just, preferable words. Anatafuta your competitor. Unajisogeza hapo. But again, there's a whole science around it, and there are different companies that are actually invested in actually helping you get to that point, and individuals. I think there are also consultants who are doing around that space. But I would definitely highly recommend kwamba aipo na budget ya digital media marketing kwa kila mwezi. Akitoka kwenye digital media marketing, depending product yake ni product ya sekta gani ama nini, kuna umuhimu wa kuelezea na kutafuta traction outside the digital media marketing, kwa sababu utataka watu waje kwenye the digital space, kwa sababu unajua kuna wengine unaweza kuwakamata tayari wako kwenye the digital space, lakini labda pia unataka kukamata watu wengine ambao hawako kwenye the digital space, unataka kumleta kwenye the digital space. Kwa hiyo hapo inamaanisha kwa aina moja ama nyingine kidogo venture outside into the traditional. So this could be your radios, kuweza kuelezea product yako ni nini na nini. This could be it's a lot of money, and I've personally, so radios and I usually work on ukipata interviews, ukipata nini, so you're just riding along, because for you to do a tangazo kwenye proper radio ad nini na nini, siku hizi wamezipunguza kidogo, like with the last 6 years were crazy. Post COVID nini wametengeneza some different packages kwa ajili ya SMEs na kala kitu, lakini it used to be crazy expensive, you cannot even think about it, but it might be a good idea kuweza kupona ads, kwa sababu watu wanasikia, mtu anaweza kaingia kapakua app yako. Namba 3,
kwa hiyo ya pili ni nini? Yani kimsingi kuwa na elements za physical,
so the traditional media, so kwenye radio,
TV on ground,
sana radio, TV yenyewe ukipo kwenye watu siku hizi hatuangalii TV, watu wanaangalia, I don't even own a TV, but I would listen to like your newscast or the ITV or TBC, like, so unless you have a slot hapo, I don't know, possibly people do still watch TV, like mtu kwenye stationi anasikiliza different, au kuna vipindi ambayo inajulikana high moments, but radio, billboards, because visibility and people questioning and figuring out what this is, so radio, billboards. Ukitoka hapo, I would actually go back sasa kwenye, depending on what it is, try to design spaces of engagement, right? Spaces of engagement looks like how? Spaces of engagement looks like if you have a budget, watu wengine unakuta mtu anatengeneza bonanza, sijui nini kwa ajili ya kuja kuongelea, but it's just like it's a whole, you guys are coming in to have fun, but you're trying to talk about your product. There's much more interesting ways. So kama sisi sasa hivi, one of the things that we're going big on is doing curated breakfast sessions with HR leaders, because we really want to talk to them about what is an applicant tracking system, why do they need it, what type of savings will they be doing for their company if they have such a tool. And then we're like, hey, here is Niajiri. It's an applicant tracking system. So like creating spaces ambazo you're having discussions that are value added to them, and then you're giving them a solution which is actually the tool or the app that you have. So hiyo nimetoa example kama sisi, lakini you can do the same depending on what it is you're servicing. So let's say you are having an agriculture type of thing, you know, make sure that you're going to a SACCOS meeting or something amboya or agriculture, unaenda kuongelea product yako, kwa sababu pale ndo ambako watumizi wako wapo, watumiaji wako, kuliko tu unaongelea huku, lakini sometimes also going on the ground and telling people and talking to them about your products actually goes a long way. So your GTM strategy, digital media marketing, please do not forget that it is not just about posting on Twitter and Instagram.
Posting on Instagram and posting on social media is not digital media.
Yes, posting on social media is not digital media marketing.
Yes.
And ni vitu vili tofauti. It is one of the things you could do definitely, and having like a whole social media plan, right? That's one thing that, as an example, Sisi, I used to do it mwenyewe, then I got somebody, then I trained somebody to really do it, then I invested in this person, and I'm actually bearing the fruits of investing in this person, actually learning how to do all of these things. Lakini, you have to be consistent.
Yes.
And I can say kwamba we've been consistent on social media the last 1-2 years. And that's why we're having more traction. Because I think right now, when you look at our channels, kwenye WhatsApp nini inaitwa? Communities. Leo nimeangalia tuko 55K.
Wow.
And tumeingia only 3 weeks ago.
Whoa.
2 weeks ago.
Wow.
But 55K.
It's huge.
We're literally growing out of 3,000, 5,000 daily.
Whoa.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's because we're consistent with sharing different information, value added, giving them whatever. On I forgot my Instagram and all, but that's just like the quick data because I'm currently checking on it, and it's just like how fast it's growing. I'm just like what? And I was actually looking at it this morning because we were having a discussion around the space of interaction. There's the growing, and then there is the interaction, the people liking whatever. Na kuna post moja ilikopo kwenye 229. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's actually people who are engaging with the post. So all of these things tried and tested, but from somebody who has done it and would love for anybody else who's listening to actually fast track, have a consistent media plan, a social media plan, invest and put a budget kidogo pembeni. Yani hata kama ni $50 aka laki moja, it can still take you further and get your name out there. And you know, this other one, physical, it can be much more expensive, but I still would advise it kwa sababu tuna introduce vitu ama tools kwa jamii ambayo not necessarily very savvy.
Right.
So we do have access to social media and all of this. So sometimes kuna knowledge na education that needs to happen. So we cannot run away from it.
Yeah. There's a lot of behavior change that needs to happen.
A lot of behavior change. So watu bado wanafanya kitu traditionally. So we have to be like, hey, I'll handhold you.
Yeah.
And then mtu endelee mwenyewe.
And what about the product?
The product itself, you better have built a product ambayo it's speaking to the needs of the people. Sometimes I have questioned myself if I'm building a product that is speaking to the needs. I'm getting my affirmations that I have built a product that is speaking to the needs. It is just about how do I actually get people to engage, and we are actually trying to unlock that. And one of the key things ambazo we're going to be heavily invested in ni kwenye kuwa na foot soldiers on the ground so that we can really get people to get on the platform. Kwa sababu hata wachache ambao wako on the platform, 33,000 watu wachache, but ambao wako kwenye platform hawafanyi full engagement of what tunategemea.
Yeah.
Lakini kwenye kuwaelewa zaidi ni kwa sababu hawaelewi wanatakiwa kufanya nini. Kwa hiyo inamaanisha kuna uhitaji kuna uhitaji, which is the behavior change, which is the change, mindset change. It's not kitu cha kama nimekuja mnaelewa mnatakiwa kufanya nini. It's tofauti tukipo tunaongelea I'm sure 101%. If I go to Nigeria, or if I go to any one of this and present Niajiri, we would go further. But the reality of the matter, and I think I got this, there's a time I was pitching to an investor and I was like, oh no, if you have something that is much more AI, nini. Hapo, wiki iliyopita tu nilikuwa nimetoka one of the partner universities that we're working with. Na vijana wangu, tulikopo tuna session now, we had spent 1 hour kwenye computer lab kufungua Niajiri. Mimi session yangu ilikuwa ni ya saa 1. Kwa tukatumia masaa 2. Kwa sababu tulikuwa kwenye jinsi ya kufungua kompyuta. Alafu unaniambia sasa hivi nifanye AI. Yani nikamsikiliza, nikamwambia baba, ungejua kwamba kuna matatizo mengine ambayo ni marefu sana. Hizi AI zitakuja na kila kitu, lakini uhalisia and it doesn't mean that we cannot, leapfrog. Look at where we are with mobile money. We can and we should. But also being cognizant of these are some of the realities that we're facing with. So when even you're designing, have it in mind that the person you're designing for, ni mtu ambaye they will be meeting this thing for the first time. So you really have to think about their environment, what it would mean, how they would actually be like, you know what, I really need to use this thing. Kwa sababu mobile money sasa hivi kila mtu anahitaji. Kila mtu anatumia kwa sababu ina solve a particular pain point.
Yeah.
So design, if anybody's out there listening, build for pain points. Na sio pain points zako. Real pain points za watu. No matter saying, it also apps I was trying to move away because I'm just like, to keep it realistic, how many apps do you have on your phone and which apps do you actually really use on a daily?
I use maybe 4 or 5.
Exactly. And we all know which those apps are, right? So ukienda, nenda kwenye simu za Tecno, Infinix, whatever. Data hana ya kutosha. Unaweza kumwambia anze kuongeza apps nyingine hapo, mwenzako ana picha zake za kuweka. app yako wewe inamsaidia nini kwenye maisha yake kujisema kwamba hii app lazima iwepo, nisifute, nisifanye nini. So that's the thinking, like what value are you actually bringing to this person for your product, for them to engage with your product. Yeah.
Lillian.
Yes.
Asante sana.
Shukran. Thank you for the invitation.
Cool. This was nice.
Karibu kwenye Msasa, where we talk to successful people about failure.